Everyone has experienced that strange moment when a word feels so close you can almost touch it. You know what it means, you might even hear the rhythm of it in your head, but the actual sound won't come out. This is called the tip of the tongue phenomenon. And it says less about forgetting than about how language memory really works. When we learn words, the brain doesn't store them as single units. Each word lives in two overlapping systems. One keeps its meaning, the concept it represents, and the other keeps its sound pattern, the sequence of phonemes we use to pronounce it. Normally, these systems operate instantly, meaning activates sound and sound becomes speech. But sometimes that connection weakens for a few seconds. The brain locates the concept but fails to trigger the sound form, leaving you suspended in a state of knowing without saying. This partial retrieval failure is especially common among bilinguals and language learners, but no one is immune. It happens when a word has been learned only through reading or listening without enough practice producing it aloud. It also happens when the word isn't used often, when familiar words compete for attention, or when your mind is tired or anxious and working memory can't keep all channels open. In essence, the bridge between meaning and sound becomes momentarily unstable. The feeling itself, that sense of I know it is right there, proves the words still exist in memory. If it were truly forgotten, you would feel nothing. The tip of the tongue state is your brain's version of a loading screen. It knows what file you're asking for, it just needs time to open it. That is why these moments, though annoying, are actually encouraging. They show that your language network is active and searching. Recovering fluency has little to do with memorizing more vocabulary and everything to do with improving access. Retrieval is a skill that strengthens through use. Each time you recall a word from memory, you reinforce the pathway that connects meaning to sound. Speaking even to yourself speeds up that connection far more than passive exposure ever will. The more often you reach for a word and succeed, the faster your brain becomes at finding it again. This is why consistent active recall is at heart of language mastery. Saying words aloud, using them in sentences, and revisiting them after short intervals trains the brain to retrieve them automatically. Over time, those moments of hesitation fade. What once took effort becomes instant. So when you find yourself pausing mid-sentence, don't interpret it as a failure of memory. It's simply your brain buffering, recalibrating the route between concept and sound. With practice, that delay shrinks until the bridge becomes seamless again. The word isn't lost, it's waiting for you to call it back often enough to stay awake.